We're going to look at some of the features which make BAM so fast at drawing. But first I should confess that I didn't originally set out to create the world's fastest drawing app. Originally, the intention was to make an app that creates lectures for maths and physics, which is what I mostly do. And in creating that app, we needed a drawing part of that because maths and physics lectures often have diagrams. And from my own experience of using many drawing apps, I wanted to overcome the things which I thought were slow and frustrated me on those drawing apps, which at the time I didn't realize would be quite as difficult to overcome as it was, as in the coding was pretty difficult. Anyway, when we got into doing the drawing and diagramming side of it, we realized that it had the potential of being its own standalone app because it speeds up drawing a lot. And now when I need to diagram something, I of course use BAM, and it just saves me a heap of time. So it's basically, the reason it can achieve this, there's three objects that work together with each other. And it means we can edit our drawings very quickly. So actually on the first lay, the first attempt at drawing, it's not much quicker than any other drawing app. But when we want to start tweaking and changing, that's really where the time saving comes in. So the first of these three objects is the squiggle. And I'm going to demonstrate, I'm just going to select this and draw a random squiggle. Just do that. And I'm going to press escape to get out of there. Now, if we wanted to change this, because we didn't like where it was, it's actually very easy to change. So it's taken our line and defined it by as few points as it could. So we can just maneuver it with infinite flexibility. And we can connect up points. So now those points are just 1 point. We can also add in points randomly. So let's say we wanted a point halfway in the middle of that. We now have another point to go through, or we could skip it out. These are, by the way, I'm pressing shortcut keys, but we have all these controls as buttons if we need them when you get into the tutorials. We can also, so they're kind of, it finds the line of best fit to all these points, but we can also ask it not to share gradient. So I could take this one, press the shortcut key, and it's no longer sharing the gradient, doing a few more. In fact, I could take a bunch of them all at once and ask them not to share gradient with each other. So we've gone from a curvy line between the points to a straight line. So that's obviously fairly quick. Or we could just have one line getting its gradient from the other, or two lines as in segments. So you can very, very quickly change from one shape to the other. Press Control Z on that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to select these 3 points, these 2 points, and delete them. And I'm going to take this point, connect it up to here. So what started off as a very random curvy squiggle has now very quickly become a square. Really, you can change any shape of squiggle into any other shape that you can conceive of very, very quickly. Now, often you don't need to do such dramatic changes. You're just tweaking it. Tweaking is very quick, or dramatic changes very quick. There's various other ways you can edit it, like having rounded corners, angled corners, various other things. But we're not going to be able to see all the features, or we'll be here forever. So we've just seen the most commonly used features, which initially start to speed things up. So we have our squiggles, and they're easy to adapt. The next feature of the squiggle is not what I meant to do. We can have multiple segments going to one point. So in normal drawing, we think in terms of lines is kind of our basis, and there are points on the end of the line which you don't really think about. In BAM, as you're using it, you'll come to think of things in terms of points, and then the segments connected will be the secondary kind of object. So let's say we wanted another line going to this point here, another segment. I'm just going to do that. pressing enter. Now if we move this point, all the segments connected to that point come with it. So that speeds things up a lot. I'm going to show you an example when that might be useful in a practical sense. I'm actually going to delete this. And I'm going to set my grid to 10 for this. So I'm drawing my attempt at a vague pyramid-y house type thing, which is hopefully going to end up being vaguely 3D. Okay, now if we want to make the pyramid a bit higher, we can just move it as per we see fit. Or if we wanted to make it wider, we could take these guys, move them around, re-centralize this. Let's say we wanted the base to be a lot skinnier. And this, by the way, is all happening in real time. We can very quickly adapt the whole shape by moving to some points, and the segments follow along with that. Now, the final feature with these is not particularly novel, but it's very easy to duplicate them. The next feature, the next object we want to look at is going to be a panel. So I'll take this shape, maybe reduce the whole size of it, and I'm going to add a panel. Now, you don't have to have this border around a panel, but in this case I'm going to have it. Now I can put this pyramid in here. And I could potentially make it a lot smaller. That's going to, duplicate that. Now we've got these two shapes in a panel, we can move them around all as one panel, or duplicate them as a panel. And we can also put panels inside panels. So I'm going to make this panel big enough to take this other panel. We can put panels inside panels, and then we can move the whole thing around or duplicate the whole thing. So especially for when we're doing similar bits of drawing, or we want to move objects around together, these panels speed stuff up a lot. Going to delete that panel. Move this one down a bit. The final object is splashes, splashes of color. And this is a color fill option, but it's actually pretty flexible. So first of all, let's just do a standard thing. Let's say we wanted a splash of color in this triangle here. We would probably choose this one. We have here, let me do that again. We have here the color wave window, which is a nice, easy way to see all the colors. You can't see them all quite here, but I say all the colors. It's not all colors, but it's plenty of colors. So we're going to add a green color. I then drop it where I want it to go, and we now have a green there. Now, if I wanted to move where that color was, then I can grab the color as an object and put it somewhere else. And if we adapt this shape, the color will fill to our adapted size. We could also duplicate the color. So I'm going to grab it and put it up here or here. Now, at the moment, the splash is in the middle, and it just fills out from where it is. So if we move this shape, the splash color will no longer be contained by here, so this is going to cause a problem. So I'm going to move this, and now splash is here, so it's filled up everywhere. Control Z to undo that. We can get these colors to latch on to the shapes. So if I go into here, and I'll take this one and put it latched onto there. Now if I move the shape, whatever happens to the shape, those splashes of colors are latched onto the shape. You can also drop multiple colors very quickly by selecting this one. So let's drop whatever this color is. Let's do a yellowy. Just move my mouse off and the dialogue's going away. Let's do a blue. Whatever that is. It's hard to do in fast time. My imagination is not that good. Finally, that one. We'll get out of adding splash mode. So we very quickly add any colors we want. I'm going to try and put some of this stuff together by drawing a leaf. So these are going to be the kind of separating veins of the leaf. And now we want all these central points to the segments either side to share the gradient. So pressing shortcut key there. By the way, this would be going faster, but I'm obviously doing this trying to talk as well. Multitasking isn't my strong point. I can barely single task. So we're kind of getting towards having something that vaguely looks like a leaf. Guess maybe it's a bit fat for a leaf. Now we're going to add in the colors. Now this window, I did it again. This window we can pin. So I'm going to pin this so it won't. Normally when I move my mouse off, it disappears. Now I've pinned it, that won't happen. I'm going to put it on the other screen so you can see the colors landing in more in real time. And this time I'm latching them onto the segments. Go for a green. These aren't realistic colors, obviously, for a leaf. And this top one, I'm just going to change a segment of the squiggle to white so it kind of disappears. So you can't really see that top segment now, but if we move it, you can see all the segments attached to it, which are getting a gradient from it, they're all changing their gradient as well. So we can change the shape fairly quickly. I'm going to put these in a panel with no border. Let me say these, it's currently only one. And duplicate this leaf. And we can edit this one to look however we want it to look. And we can move them around or duplicate them as one object because they're both in a panel. There's a whole heap of other features that speed up the process of making diagrams and drawings, but I won't go into those. And it does come with a little bit of a learning curve. There's kind of a different way of thinking. And these two features here, which I'm not going to go into now, can speed up when you're editing squiggles. You're deciding as you go along if you want to edit an existing squiggle or make a new squiggle. Not that it matters which one of those you choose, you can just speed it up by choosing the right one. If you choose the less efficient one, it doesn't really slow it down by that much, but on most drawing apps you don't have a kind of an easy set choice on that. You also have text objects where you can edit, you can basically do in maths what's called coding. You can change bits of text in large groups. So it's kind of like if you ever do internet programming, it's kind of how that works, but it's just very, very simple toggles in this case. I'm going to show you one more thing quickly. So I don't know if I'm biased because I programmed it, but I also find it quite fun, quite satisfying. The fact that you can edit stuff so quickly and it just kind of does what you would hope it would do makes it all the more satisfying. My hope is, with all the diagramming and drawing that's done, billions of signs and stuff on the internet, logos and whatnot. This will hopefully save our species many, many millions of hours a year when this is rolled out. If not, then I'm going to be slightly disappointed. This is my face, by the way. This is not something I just drew. The other thing I'm hoping is that because it makes it so much faster to draw, that more people can just be creative, because it's more fun to use when you can edit your drawings quickly without too much frustration, see what you've done wrong and tweak things. So yeah, I'm hoping it just allows people to be creative and send each other the pictures they've created. So there's inbuilt sending and receiving messages. And you can also post your work to a public gallery within it. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope it was of vague interest. And yeah, I hope people use it and enjoy it.